process. Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. Representative, thank you for with us. And you probably saw that tweet that came out just within the last 2 hours. And in that tweet, just to go back to the wording itself, it says that those who come in, and I'll read straight from it, when somebody comes in, we must immediately, with no judges or court cases, bring them back from where they came. Representative, from your perspective as a lawyer, is this a suggestion of a lack of due process?
Absolutely. When I served on active duty in the Air Force, I actually worked on this issue of what rights do people have once they come on U.S. soil. And the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment attaches to all persons, not just U.S. citizens. So what Donald Trump tweeted today is just flat out unconstitutional. It's another example of him trying to violate the laws and not adhere to the rule of law in the United States.
When you do look at that, since you did look at that as a JAG in the very topic itself, what was the counter argument? That which we have seen so far is to say that if you're not a U.S. citizen, you should not be afforded, again, the right to go to court, the right here in this case of due process.
The issue comes to whether you are on U.S. soil or not. That's why the administration has Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. That's why they want to keep that facility, because that's not U.S. soil. But for anyone who comes on U.S. soil, the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment applies. They have the absolute right to due process. And for the president to tweet that out today shows that he actually has not read the Constitution.
I also want to address something that's been part of this, and those are asylum seekers. Some of the numbers so far are showing that in the thousands, some 6,000 individuals coming to the border within the first quarter of the year. The number of those that have crossed the border, though illegally, much greater, about 10 times greater than that. Do you believe that those coming to the border seeking asylum are getting the right treatment as they try to gain asylum here in the United States?
Not at all. The latest data shows that about 76% of people who are showing up on U.S. soil have a credible fear of persecution. That means they can file a legal asylum claim. What Jeff Sessions did is he completely upended what was happening, and he's now prosecuting every single person who's coming into the United States, even though they may have a legal asylum claim. That's what's causing all this chaos and confusion. They should go back to the process before, where we let the people file the legal asylum claim, figure out if they can claim asylum, and if they can't, then send them and their kids back as a unit instead of separating them right now.
We're hearing from the Department of Homeland Security overnight. You probably saw the same memo, sir, and that is that the Customs and Border Protection Agency saying that they have reunited 522 children so far, 2,053, again, the latest numbers overnight, still being held by HHS. Are we seeing the right speed of progress from where you sit?
Not at all. Right now, there's still thousands of babies and kids who were ripped away from their parents by the Trump administration that have not been reunited with their parents. And what's more troubling is we've been asking very basic questions, such as, how do you make sure that the baby is the right one for the parents? How did you even keep track of that? And the Trump administration has not been able to answer those very basic questions. Other basic questions, such as, how do you know if any of these kids have food allergies? What if they have certain medical ailments that need treatment? They can't answer those questions as well.
As you know, some of the eyes that have been able to get into some of those detention centers are fellow lawmakers like yourself. You're from Southern California, of course, a border state with Mexico. There are detention centers in Southern California, and there are some unaccompanied children there in Southern California right now. What are you hearing? What have you been able to learn based on your connections there in Southern California?
So we know that the Trump administration is trying to reunite some of these babies and kids, but there's this other issue that people may not have thought about, which is you have all these adults being sent to all these prison facilities across America, and they can't handle them. So there is a prison facility in Victorville where their prison guards have come forward and said, we can't deal with all these people that was just dropped off at our facility. And in addition, I do want to commend the ACLU, who gave all these migrants the rights to seek an attorney, because again, they're on U.S. soil. They have the right to due process.
What would you like to do with fellow Democrats and Republicans to fix the problem that causes crises like this day to day?
So Democrats are very willing to work with the president and Republicans to solve the issue of border security, providing a legal pathway for dreamers and undocumented youth, and to deal with family separation. The problem is the president wants to add to that changes to lawful and legal immigration. That is what is holding all of this up. If we just address the issues around DACA, family separation, and border security, we can solve that. We should not make changes to lawful and legal immigration, which is what the White House wants to do.
All right, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California, thank you, sir, for stopping by.